letter cars, and I think you may have picked this one yourself. You may have influenced the judges. Here comes best in class from the post-war American Chrysler letter cars. It is the 1957 Chrysler 300C from Jack Child out of Amherst, New Hampshire. How about that color, Bill?
Oh my gosh, this car makes me nuts. I mean, there are very few cars that make me so crazy. I love Jack's car.
You really were genuinely excited today when we talked about this car.
There's so much to talk about with this car, and you guys are all getting to see it from the best view because you're getting to see it from the side. This was Chrysler's $100 million look, and they spent $100 million in 1957 to redo their entire lineup. Plymouth, Dodge, DeSoto, Chrysler, and Imperial, all 5 of their car lines. They took what was really some very stodgy styling in the early 50s. K.T. Keller, who was president of Chrysler at the time, had the foresight to hire Virgil Exner. Virgil Exner was a master in terms of design and styling. On the other hand, Virgil Exner did not know when to say when. And the Imperial was kind of the car that he went crazy on, and every styling gimmick known to Virgil Exner was used on that car. This is the 300C, or the banker's hot rod. This was the performance car in the Chrysler lineup. This was Chrysler's Thunderbird or Chrysler's Corvette because they didn't have that availability of another chassis or a separate design car to do this. This was started out as a parts bin car in 1955 when it was first introduced. Part New Yorker, part Newport, part Saratoga, and a little bit of 300. It was called the 300 because it was the first American car with 300 factory horsepower. Under the hood is a 392 Hemi, right? It's a 392 Hemi. This is the real Hemi, not like today's Hemis. These were very expensive to produce. These cars were built in very, very limited numbers. How many convertibles, Jack? 484 convertibles were built like this. Very few of them survived. They were unitized bodies. Chrysler was one of the first to go to unitized bodies. Torsion level front suspension, a very stout torque flight automatic transmission, big horsepower, and again sold in limited numbers. And my favorite color called Gauguin Red. Love this car. This car also has factory air, and it has a highway hi-fi player. So when you guys that are in the group going out here, you'll be able to see when you look in the car, there's a record player on the console. It was an option on Chrysler's. It was played at a very, very slow RPM, so if you hit bumps, it wouldn't skip the needle. Not so hot, but they tried. You gotta give them credit. So it was an early form of audio entertainment in the cars. Just a fabulous car. I love your car.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue ribbon belongs to Mr. Jack Child and his 1957 Chrysler 300C. Well done. Truly a
Gosh, is that a looker, man. Woo.
Here's another name you'll recognize coming up as best in class. This is the Cadillac Eldorado, 1953 to 1964. Mr. Gene and Miss Marlene Epstein, best in class for their 54 Cadillac Eldorado. Wow.
Cadillac introduced the Eldorado in 1953. There were 3 cars, really 4 cars, that were part of General Motors' traveling Motorama that went around the United States to kind of gauge the reaction of